now we're ready to get to the Seleucids and see what they can do. Again, the first thing we got to do is we got to roll up their command points and see what they got. I'm running out of room here. So again, they're going to roll a d6, and he's going to be adding +2 to the roll. He gets a 1. Not very good. +2 is 3, is going to be 2 CPs after halving and rounding up. So, markers there. So the first thing we want to make sure we do is, let's go for it and see what happens with this melee here. We're gonna use this group here, including the elephant and all the pikes, to make a charge, a spontaneous charge, because the elephant and this unit of pikes are within 1 UD of this unit here, so they can make a spontaneous charge for free. And these guys are all a group, so I'm going to keep them as a group and have the whole thing benefit from that. So that's not going to cost me any CPs right off the bat. So I'm going to do that for sure. That'll probably chase off the velites, and we'll make contact by continuing the charge into the Roman battle line. Other than that, I might do something on the right with the light cavalry and light infantry coming out of that little field there. I do have cavalry coming up to support them. Got to get them out of there. The cavalry's slowed down to 3. Normally they move 4, so I'm going to have to do something there. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take care of this charge. Now this is a spontaneous charge, and we're going to go through the whole evade procedure because the velites are going to have to evade, really, to survive. One of the rules in this game is that light infantry are destroyed automatically if contacted by, for example, heavy infantry. Not against elephants, however. They're actually pretty decent against elephants. They won't quick kill them, as I'd like to call it. But yeah, they're going to have to evade. So I'm not going to wheel, I'm not going to make any changes. Well, the first thing I would do, of course, is to put my little arrow marker, if that means anything. We're just going to charge straight ahead, and it'll be a flat contact. And the velites are going to evade. So again, they don't have to turn and do an about face because, you know, they have that free about face they can do for nothing. So they're going to keep their facing and just go straight back. So there's nothing preventing that. So we'll just roll on the table to see if they get any extra movement. Normally they move 3, and that tells us that they deduct 1. So they're only moving 2 to make this evade move. Now they can interpenetrate. That would take them to about here. Everybody and anybody can move through the light infantry and vice versa, so no problems there. Okay, now we do the same thing with the charging Seleucids right here. They're also going to make a roll and add or deduct an UD from their total distance. And they rolled a 4, which is no change. Now as a group they move a maximum of 2, and they're well within 2, I believe. Yeah, they're about 1.5 UDs, so they're just going to move straight ahead into contact. Nice front edge to front edge contact here. And at the end of the movement step of the turn, we will actually conform them corner to corner as prescribed in the rules, much like DBA, except you're allowed to move up to sideways up to 1 UD or wheel up to an UD, or both, in order to get that conforming proper and legal. So that was done for free because that was a spontaneous charge. Okay, now we're going to hustle this up. That's a cohesion loss. And that unit is also considered disordered because of that. Now the next thing to do, I've got 2 points here. I'm going to, I'm not going to do anything with my commander here, but I am going to mess around with this group over here. Try and get that cavalry up. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move these guys a little bit forward. Not much, just a straightforward move. I don't have to measure it. And then I want these guys, they move 3, and I want them to wheel. Get this out of the way. I want them to wheel 1 so I can get around the side. So that's 1. And then I want to move, let's see, at least another one. Probably another half to here. And then I'm going to wheel the rest of my move 1/2 distance the other direction. 1/2 an odd, which is right about there. And not exactly a perfect move, but you get the idea of what I'm trying to accomplish. So he's done, and that cost 1 CP. What else can we do? I would have liked to have rallied him, but he moved already, so that can't be done. Rallying is something you do instead of moving. It is possible to move units a second time or a third time, but there are some strict requirements to that. It can cost additional CPs. I'm not going to do that right now. And just to show you what else can be done with an advance move, which is a straightforward move, there is a rule that allows you to step a slide, they call it, up to 1 unit distance to the left or right, as long as you move at least 1 UD forward. So let's do that just for the hell of it. I'm going to take that move here. He's going to move 1 forward, and with that he's also going to slide about that far. Let me get him back in the shot there. I don't think you saw that. But anyway, this side chariot moved forward 1 UD and did a slide to the right for 1 UD, which actually is free. It doesn't cost anything. As long as you're moving forward at least a minimum of 1 unit distance forward, you can slip to the side, left or right, up to 1 unit distance. And that doesn't cost any extra. That's part of the move. In fact, something unusual about side chariots is that's basically the only moves that can be made by a side chariot. So coupled with the wheel, that's about the only thing they can do. So they're pretty restricted in their choice of actions they can do. Okay, we're just going to end it there and get right to the combat. I do have a couple more CPs I could have spent. One that I rolled and one for my commander. But no. So we'll finish the movement, and what we do now is we conform units that aren't lined up perfectly. And we're going to do that. And you always line up to the unit you're mostly in, so it's usually pretty obvious. So this whole battle line is going to shift to the left. And something else that needs to be mentioned here is that the only one who actually conforms is the phasing player, which in this case is the Seleucids. So the Romans won't actually do any conforming here. It's actually the Seleucids, because they are the phasing player. They're the ones that have to do the conforming. And there is exceptions to that here and there, I believe, unless I'm thinking DBA. But it's all in the rule book, my friends, all in the rule book. So at this point, the movement comes to an end, and we go into the shooting phase. Of course, our evaders, our Romans, can't shoot. They don't have a target anyway. But there will be shooting up here. And we're going to take care of that next. Let's take a little zoom in here so we can see a little bit of the details. In this case, we have a little bit of a different situation for the shooters. Let's take a look at the light horse. Now, both of these units are armed with bows, so their range is maximum 2 UD. So first of all, let's look at the light cav. And we take this is our little template, center it on him, and that's his arc of fire. And it extends this way 2 UD, which would be about to that distance. So these guys are definitely within that area, as you can see. No other targets. Now, if we look at the light infantry here, we got to look at them right away, because they can also shoot, and they will be shooting at the same target as the light horse. So what happens here is this unit here will be the shooter, and it will be shooting at the Romans. This unit here of light infantry will be supporting them. And they're going to be, how that works is this guy here will have a +1 because of them helping them shoot. So it's kind of like a support in close combat in a way. If you're familiar with DBA or any of the DBX games, it's a very similar situation in how support during shooting works. So both sides will roll their dice. Let me back up here a little bit. Both sides are going to roll their dice once again, and The light horse will get a +1 for the support. Both units, all units concerned are ordinary. So there's no modifiers for quality between the Romans and the light horse. Protection of the Romans is 0, so they're not going to get a bonus for their protection. So really the only modifier here is light horse has a -1, +1 for support. So they have no modifier, and the Romans have 0 modifiers as well. So it's just a straight up roll, I believe, unless I forgot something. So let's see. Black as the Sayacids, they need to score higher. They got a 4. They scored higher. They caused a cohesion hit and disorder as well on the Romans. So there's a little bit of disruption going on. Good shooting. All right, so that's that. And nothing else is available to fire as far as I can tell. Nope, that's it. Okay, now we're going to go to the close combat and let's see what happens between these Romans and pikes and the elephant. See what happens.